welcome to our International Graduate and Professional Student Orientation. My name is Brandon Lanners, and I'm the Executive Director of the Office of Global Learning. It's a pleasure to welcome you all here to Cornell, maybe to Ithaca for your first time, maybe even to the United States for the first time. My office, the Office of Global Learning, is here to support all of you, all of our international students and our international scholars in issues with immigration, and also making sure that you feel welcome and included here on campus. You'll have a chance today to hear from a variety of speakers talking about different campus resources. I do want to say that as part of our goal to make sure you feel welcome and included here on campus, you're going to see a variety of communications come out from our office throughout the year. Some of those will be focused on immigration. Others will be focused on different kinds of events and programs that we offer to get to know other international students and to get resources to make sure that your time here is successful. Be on the lookout for those. We have a newsletter that we send out every month. The first issue is going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. And we'll always send out other, especially urgent messages to all of you through your email. I'd like to introduce Officer Jody Conzella, who's going to be talking with us about the Cornell University Police Department, your safety and your security on campus. Thank you so much for being here, Officer Conzella.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for having us. So we at Cornell University Police feel so fortunate to serve such a diverse community. So the next 25 minutes, you'll learn a little bit about our department and where we're located and what we offer you as far as resources here at Cornell University while you're here. So here's a little bit of a visual of just kind of how a flow chart of how things work here at the university. The police department is under the Division of Public Safety. So these are some of the needs that we meet for the community. Medical, fire, law enforcement obviously is us. And then our Public Safety Communication Center, which we'll talk about. That is who answers the phone when you call 607-255-1111. All right, so a little bit about our department. We are a fully staffed police agency, and we do operate 24/7, 365. So we never take a day off. We are always there for you if you need help of any kind, whether it's emergency or non-emergency help. And we are located right across the street in Barton Hall. So some of you will see a picture and it might look familiar. Our building is quite large and stately. We have approximately 50 sworn officers currently, a major investigations unit. So they investigate frauds, scams, any kind of really large crimes that happen here on campus. And then 2 canines and also their handlers. And we'll see pictures of them as well, because everybody loves a picture of a dog or 2. And then the community engagement team. So that is, that's the team that I'm a part of. And it's this is what we do. We engage with the community and we complete programming and tabling sessions. So we kind of really are the face of the department. We don't really take calls per se, but we engage with the community on multiple levels. Like I said, we're located in Barton Hall, which is across the street, and we are an accredited agency. So it's something that we are really proud of. Basically, what it means to be an accredited agency is just that we have policies and procedures that are audited regularly by an international organization. All right, so there's a picture of Barton Hall, like I said. Most of you will probably go to Barton Hall for the indoor track, which is upstairs, or for Lost and Found, which is downstairs. So if you do lose anything and you want to check and see if Lost and Found has your items, that's where it's located. So again, just east of this building. So that's also where our Division of Public Safety is located. So these are our telecommunicators. Basically, When you call for help, these are the individuals that pick up the phone. So again, being a 24/7 agency, there is someone always, at least two telecommunicators in Barton Hall. So it is considered a safe space 24 hours a day. If you need to go somewhere and guarantee that you can get help, that is where you can go any hour of the day. They also, so aside from answering the phone, the emergency and non-emergency calls, they also take all of the fire alarms and burglar alarms on campus. It's a very high-tech space. There's lots of screens and techie things. They also answer all of the Rave Mobile Guardian calls and security timers. So we'll talk a little bit more about that app and how you can utilize it to help keep you safe here on campus. And as well as the Cornell Lost and Found, like I said. Our phone number is 607-255-1111. So you're gonna wanna make sure that you have that in your phone. That is our emergency and non-emergency number, 607-255-1111. Doesn't have to just be called in an emergency. You can still utilize 911, but you will be transferred back to Cornell Police Dispatch because they're the only ones that dispatch Cornell Police, okay? If you live off campus, you can still, again, call 911. We might not be the agency that responds if you live outside of our jurisdiction. All right, so this is our police chief, and since he can't be here, we're gonna read off, if he could be here, he would say that his vision is to continue our progress in partnership with the community. We must understand each other and take into consideration everybody's safety first while making sure we are treating people with empathy. So when I say that our police agency is, we take pride in being very specialized police agency. And that is reflected in our hiring process and also in our training as well. So when I say that we consider ourselves to be different than other police agencies, I really mean that. Just to give you an idea of what our officers, how they're trained, they go through a 6 to 8 month police academy, and that is certified through New York State. And then once they are done with their 6 to 8 months of training at an independent police training department, they come back here and then they have a few more weeks of training in which they specifically learn the geography here at Cornell University, which you will learn eventually is vast. There are hundreds of buildings and our officers know each and every single one of them and how to get there in the most expedient manner. Paperwork, which again, like I said, policies and procedures, we have a lot of, and vehicle and traffic. So if you plan on driving on campus, you might want to brush up on your traffic law, right? So bicycles and vehicles have to abide by New York State traffic laws. So you can get a ticket if you are breaking any of those laws, because again, our number one priority here is safety, okay? The safety of the community, so. And then specialty assignments and an observation phase. So if you're adding all of that time up, it takes almost a year to have a fully trained Cornell police officer here. And again, our officers in that training, that field training phase are trained to engage and understand Cornell's diverse community. All right, so this is a little bit of an overview of our responsibilities. Essentially, we assist the community with criminal and non-criminal complaints, right? So anything from checking on the welfare of a beaver at a dam. I've been on that call firsthand. The beaver was okay. He was just doing his normal thing. To any kind of criminal complaints, right? So our number one reported crime here on campus is larceny, okay? So larceny is theft. Right? So if you're going to have a bicycle on campus, you want to make sure that you are purchasing a really high quality bike lock, because we do take those reports frequently that bicycles, laptops, items can be taken if they are not secured properly. So I would recommend that you register your bicycle with Cornell Transportation and also write down and take pictures of serial numbers. So if you have laptops, high value items, you're going to want to make sure that you have that information in the event that you have to provide it in a police report. We also enforce the laws, like I said, so not just the penal law of New York State, but also vehicle and traffic law, local laws. So things like open containers, public urination. That sounds so embarrassing, but it happens, especially after a night on the town. And also the local community standards, right? So the Student Conduct and Community Standards Office, right? And then also respond to emergencies. So if you ever hear sirens going off across the community, typically that would be ourselves, possibly emergency medical services or environmental health and safety, responding to something like a medical emergency or maybe even a fire alarm. All right, so if you see us on campus, we do have multiple ways that we patrol. So typically by vehicle. And if you get to walk across the street, you'll see our parking lot. So you'll get a glimpse of what our patrol vehicles look like. So you'll know what they look like by bicycle and then also by on foot. So our officers are approachable and they really, like I said, engage with the community. So please, if you see one of them out, feel free to introduce yourself and to ask any questions that you have. All right, so as promised, these are pictures of our two canines. So the one on the left, the German short hair pointer is Luna, and the one on the right is Axel. So you might see them on campus. They are not drug dogs. They are trained in explosive detection and also tracking. So sometimes you'll see them if we have a dignitary on campus, they'll be doing sweeps. And also they do demonstrations as well. Their training is quite impressive. Okay, so multiple ways that you can make contact with Cornell University Police. Like I said before, you can still call 911 from your cell phone. It will get you help in any situation, especially if you're off campus. If you are on campus, 607-255-1111 is the optimal number to call. Our emergency response time on campus is 2 to 3 minutes for a priority 1 call, okay? A priority 1 call is not that you've been locked out of your room, okay? That is a crime in progress, okay? So just be aware that that doesn't count in certain situations. A blue light or emergency phone. So as you can see in the picture, that is a photo of a blue light phone. And the emergency phone does the same thing, but they're located interior buildings. So they look like a yellow call box, and they're usually located near exits and stairwells. So that will get you direct line to Cornell Public Safety. And basically when you push the button, you will hear a telecommunicator say, Cornell Public Safety, what's your emergency? And then you can have a conversation freely. Some benefits to using a blue light phone or an emergency phone is that they know your exact location. So if you're on campus and you're still learning the campus, you're not sure where you are, it might be beneficial to utilize one of these methods rather than your cell phone, because unless you have the Rave Guardian app, we will not be able to tell your location immediately, okay? The Rave Guardian app, which we will talk about in a few slides, has multiple ways that you can connect with us, and also the silent witness form. So the silent witness form is important for us to know that the community is aware of, because it is an anonymous reporting tool, okay? So if you are, maybe there's a fear of retaliation and you have some important information that you want to relay to our department, that is one way that you could do that. The silent witness form is located on AVP Honen's public safety message that you will get in your emails. It's also located on our website, okay? So you can always find a link to that there. And then again, our website and email. All right, so a little bit about the Rave Guardian app. Number one thing to know, it's free. I don't know why that's at the bottom. It should be at the top. So we know that you spend a lot of money here at Cornell, but this is one thing that they pay for you to have. So this app is really, really amazing when it comes to safety and security. It allows you to text with Cornell police. You can send pictures. You can be anonymous. And it again, if you have to be quiet in a situation, so maybe you're in a situation where you have to run, hide, fight, and you're hiding, you can text with Cornell Police and get important information still while remaining quiet, okay? There's a 911 panic alarm button. So depending on whether you have an Apple or an Android, it's a 2 to 3 button push to get help. Safety tips. So there are phone numbers to multiple different resources across campus that you can utilize right at your fingertips, as well as university resources. So that will take you to their websites. And also there is a safety timer. So the safety timer kind of acts like a virtual escort on campus. You can set multiple guardians. And when you are walking and set your safety timer, your guardian will be alerted that your timer is set and they will be able to see where you are walking on campus. And if you have an emergency, you can alert them, or if your timer goes off, they can reach Cornell Police and let us know that you are in duress and we need to check on you. All right, so there's a QR code for the Rave Guardian if anybody wants to snap a quick picture of it. A little bit more about the silent witness form. Like I said before, it is available through the public safety newsletter that goes out weekly. Please read those newsletters. They have important information of things that we're seeing on campus, trends, maybe frauds or scams, which happen frequently, unfortunately, and target our international population. So I urge you, if you have any questions about the scams or the fraud that happens on campus, come and see us. If you have someone call you on the phone claiming to be from a department, a government agency, you can physically come to our police agency and verify if that is or is not a situation. Remembering we're open 24/7, okay? And there is a link to our website. Okay, so here's a picture of some of our officers. So this is pretty much what our officers wear on campus. Some of them are wearing bike uniforms, so you know what they look like when you see them out and about. But in 2022, our police agency handled over 38,000 calls on campus. So most of those were not priority 1 calls, okay? So not crimes in progress. And then here are some of the programs that we offer here. Like I said before, we are really fortunate to have a community engagement team here. And it allows us to meet the community's needs when it comes to programming, right? So we do offer this list of programs. Response to active threat is our #1 requested program. Unfortunately, considering the climate of internationally, this is information that people feel like is very helpful, right? And then recognizing workplace violence and alcohol awareness programs. I mentioned canine demonstrations. Another one that is very helpful, especially to international grad students, maybe even to your spouses or family members if you have them here, is the winter driving program. So that if you've never operated a motor vehicle in the winter here, it can be daunting. And there are some special tips that you might want to know. So that is a program that might be helpful. So here is, again, shameless plug, QR codes to our Facebook and Instagram if you want to follow us and see what we're doing, and also communicate with us on that level. Here is our contact information. So this is Sergeant Haynes is one of our canine handlers, and he is the sergeant in charge of community engagement and recruiting. And my partner Beverly, and then my information. So our email address is cupd_engagement@cornell.edu in the event that you're interested in any of our programming or you have any questions. I cannot overstate enough that we do have an open door policy. So, and I mean that literally and figuratively. So we welcome all kinds of questions, whether it's through email, in person, or over the phone. Okay, and that is my direct phone number there. So 255-7404. No question is too small. We understand that you are coming from regions around the world that have very different relationships with their police agencies, and the laws are very different. So please don't hesitate to ask questions if there's something that you are unsure of. Okay, good question. So the question was, for those in the back, if you are calling for a medical emergency, would you call 911 or 607-255-1111? And the answer to that is, if you are on campus, then you would call 607-255-1111. So we will be dispatched, our officers, as well as Cornell EMS, and also the local ambulance service. So here locally, it's called BANGS, but they also will be dispatched to evaluate that patient. If you go online, we have our campus watch, and we basically have a map of Cornell University and what property is ours. So obviously Central Campus, where we are right now, is going to be Cornell University property. Anything that's adjacent to Cornell-owned property, and our property is really vast, right? So we own property in College Town, Cascadilla, Sheldon Court. So we can respond to anything that's adjacent to Cornell-owned property. Okay. Really, we work closely with all of our local agencies. So Ithaca Police, Tompkins County, New York State Police, the community, the services, the emergency services in this entire county is really very professional and very similar.
But we're going to move to our next presentation. So I would like to present our colleagues from the Dean of Students Office, Huey Shao and Kim Garrison.
I serve as Associate Dean of Students and Director of the Asian and Asian American Center within the Office of the Dean of Students. I'm here with...
My name is Kim Garrison. I use the pronouns she, her, and hers. I also work in the Dean of Students Office in Student Support and Advocacy Services, and we're pumped to be here today. One of the things we like to say is Ithaca, New York is beautiful all the time. It never snows. No? Okay, good. I'm glad this crowd is awake. Okay, that sounds great. It is beautiful all the time. I like to think it's beautiful all the time. We have amazing falls. We have beautiful summer. You're seeing the tail end of summer, right? Winter is great, and we'll chat more about that in a second. And spring is really, really nice as it starts to warm up here in Ithaca. We just want to remind you of some of the signs that you'll see around campus when it does snow. A reminder to bundle up because it does get cold. Winter jackets, snow boots, those kind of things. Some of the signs that you'll see around campus. Just a reminder that like sidewalks might have signs that say this sidewalk is closed, no winter maintenance, because they try to concentrate their energy onto a few of the sidewalks rather than all of them. So if you see that sign around campus when it does come wintertime and it starts to snow, kind of our guidance is to maneuver and use a different sidewalk if you're able to. And have some fun in the snow too.
All right, so this is a look at a roadmap, a table of contents, just what we're going to cover in today's short session. We're going to speak a little bit about culture shock, how that's going to affect your experience here, add to your stress a little bit. We'll give you the context of the division in which Kim and I are a part of, the Division of Student and Campus Life. We'll talk a little bit about what we do, especially in terms of helping you all as students find belonging on campus. We're also going to give you a little bit of context in terms of things that are happening like in the air in society in the US in terms of gender inclusivity, Black Lives Matter, anti-Asian racism. And then finally, we're going to kind of bring it together and speak about mental wellness and this idea of getting connected. Getting connected, I think, will be a common stream throughout our presentation today. So some of you, especially those of you that studied abroad before, might have seen a graph like this showing culture shock. This is a pretty common graph that I've seen it before I went to study abroad. this feeling of when you first go abroad, those first couple weeks, you're like, yay, everything is happy. This is so amazing. I love it here. Then all of a sudden you might feel that, oh, geez, things are actually kind of different. This is making me kind of nervous and anxious. And then months later, one might come to acceptance. Okay, so I'm accepting what is different around me and things are being more normalized. Then finally finally that level of that plateau to acceptance. I will say that this is not something that, this isn't a standard experience. It might depend on your personality, how you approach the world, your previous experiences abroad, whether it's in the US or other places outside of your home country. So there are a lot of other factors. But the thing that we want you to take away here is that whatever your culture shock is, it's going to add to your stress here at Cornell on top of everything else that you're dealing with academically. And Kim will talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, one of the other pieces that we like to talk about is the like, yes, it's going great, to the like, oh no, sometimes it's not going as well. And how do we find that balance right in the middle? This graph talks about it in terms of blue all the way over to red. And hopefully we're in that place up there with yellow, that we're really in this good stress peak. We know potentially when our deadlines are coming up, when our assignments are due, maybe when we need to get things into the Office of Global Learning, all of those moving pieces. And hopefully that's the place when we start to get to that exhausted place where we go, oh no, I need some support. I need to ask for some help. And one of the things that we're talking about here is being connected, whether that's to our office, whether that's to the Office of Global Learning, whether that's to another office on campus, to really think about how do I get that support? We want you to ask for help. Asking for help can be hard, but it's really something that we're about here in multiple different ways. We want to get that support in place before we get to a place of really having some of that panic or breakdown or any of those other words that we might use with that. So the other thing that we talk about is what we're about kind of overall, thinking about our student and campus life. There's a number of different departments within student and campus life. We want our students to belong. We want you to know that you're a part of our Cornell community. We actually provide a definition of this as well as in terms of how we do this. We're really focused on your well-being. You've probably heard us say well-being or how we're taking care of ourselves 5 times in the last 7 minutes, right? And you'll probably hear it another 10 times. So thinking about that, how we grow through this experience, and for each one of us, that looks different, right? And then the last piece is collaboration. And sometimes that's on a staff lens, right? Sometimes that's with faculty, and sometimes that's amongst you as students, right? So Huey talked about folks that maybe have studied in the US before and how folks can be a resource. So that could also be some of the collaboration. This is what we're about kind of across the board. We wanted to make sure that we talked about it through the lens of the way we do our work.
So to elaborate more on this idea of belonging and to make you think about it in an actionable way, we want to give you some examples of what you can do. So for instance, there are over 1,000 student orgs on campus. It's probably too much to even think about, in my opinion. But I would say get involved with something, whether it's within your graduate program or something that serves the whole entire campus, undergrads and grad students. Definitely find something to get involved with in terms of student organizations, student leadership. Some of you might be doing assistantships. In a way, I think that's a way of student leadership, but you might be considering being a graduate resident fellow. There are a lot of opportunities for leadership on campus if you can make time for it. Volunteering is also something that you can do on campus or in the community. One place to look is the Einhorn Center for Community Engagement. So that's something, but there are many more. If you like sports, I'm assuming as a grad student, you're not playing a Division I sport, but you might want to play a sport for fun. And so there are intramurals, like, I don't know, soccer or basketball or something that you can play for fun with your friends as a way to relieve stress and meet new people. Student employment, I already talked a little bit about assistantships. There are other ways to get involved working on campus and much more. So we're going to transition a little bit here and talk a little about what I alluded to earlier. Some of the societal issues, things that are in the air, things that one might not be conscious of, but you may have read about back home or already have had some experience with. And one thing I want to say here is in 2020, President Pollock issued a statement in recognition of the historic racialized violence in the US that it is clear that the university community must think and act holistically to change structures and systems that inherently privilege some more than others. I think at the same time, Cornell as an institution realizes that these ideas of freedom of expression, academic freedom, and sense of belonging are sometimes conflicting. And I think it's important for you all to know, if you don't know already, that this year's theme happens to be around this idea of freedom of expression. And the theme is the indispensable condition, freedom of expression at Cornell. So I think it's a really exciting time to be at Cornell in the US, given this theme. And so look out for a bunch of different topics and things that in sessions that will happen on campus to examine this theme.
One of the things that you may have heard when I introduced myself is that I use my pronouns. I said my name is Kim Garrison. I use she, her, and her pronouns. So gender inclusive pronouns are something we use a lot here. They certainly are not a requirement for you to introduce yourself using your pronouns. Some of the other pronouns that you may hear are also they, them, she, her, he, him, and there's a number of others that you may hear as well. To be tied into kind of connected to a student organization, we have a number of student organizations to support LGBTQ students. A few are listed here, right? Haven, the LGBTQ plus Graduate Association, as well as the Gender Justice Advocacy Coalition. We also like to talk about what offices can be there to support us as well. So within our Dean of Students office, we have a few centers that are able to support us. Our Gender Equity Resource Center, as well as our LGBTQ Resource Center as well. One of the other pieces we wanted to talk about is Black Lives Matter, right? Talking through some aspects of police brutality that have happened throughout our country in different ways. And Black Lives Matter is really to eradicate white supremacy and build local power to intervene in violence inflicted on Black communities by state and other places, versus some of the other things that we may hear about All Lives Matter or other pieces. So racial inequities have really been a highlight of some things happening in the US around COVID, around, as I mentioned, some of the police brutality pieces, a number of other places. So one of the kind of supports that we like to point to are student organizations, our Cornell for Black Lives, as well as Black Students United, right? And then our Black Student Empowerment Office, which is really evolving within our departments. And so something to be on the lookout for, as well as another resource and support.
So the last topic that we want to quickly touch on, and just as a disclaimer, we realize that this is a very short session and we could probably spend hours talking about each of one of these topics. So it's not to say these aren't important topics. We also want to recognize that you may have had experience with this, whether it's in your home countries in terms of social issues or your own experiences here in the US. The last topic here I just want to touch on for you all is anti-Asian racism. This is something that is embedded in the history of the US since the 19th century, but really came to a fore, so to speak, during COVID-19, when Asians were in a way scapegoated and wrongly blamed for COVID-19. And it was around March 2020 where there was a tragic shooting in Atlanta. 6 individuals that worked in spas were murdered, and that led to a national and a more increased consciousness in the idea of Asian fetishization. Another thing I want to bring up is this idea of the model minority that is kind of underpinning this anti-Asian racism, so to speak. And it's this idea that Asians in the US are successful. They're doing well. They don't need help. I know for me, I grew up in Connecticut, born and raised. My family's from China. Growing up, I actually was not good at math. But people really thought, hey, well, he's Asian. He should be good at math. And it really kind of got in my head because I didn't think I could ask for help. I didn't think I should be struggling in math because I thought I was supposed to be good. That's what society was telling me. I think the last thing I want to say here, and this is adding on to what Kim was saying, there are places on campus where you can get support, where you can find community. So we've been talking about student organizations. I don't want to go into, there's so many student organizations. If there's one takeaway, have people heard of campus groups?
Love campus groups.
Oh, good. So campus groups, write that down. Remember, it's not on the slide, but campus groups is it's like a platform, the system, how do you describe it? It's basically where all the organizations on campus are listed, the over 1,000. You go on there, you go in the search menu, you type in keywords, you can find the different organizations. So can't emphasize it enough, finding organizations get involved in, meeting new people, creates that community and kind of insulates one against some of the issues that are happening in society. The last thing is, this is cut off here. The support office actually happens to be my office. The Asian and Asian American Center is located on 626 Thurston in the building right next to the bridge near BB Lake. So I'm welcome to talking to any student or email me. I'm happy to give advice or just listen and hear what's going on in your lives. All right, the last thing to tie this all together is there's a couple more offices that are part of our area. The Centers for Student Equity, Empowerment, and Belonging. We touched on the ones that are in Cornell in red, but the black ones, we have the first generation and low income student support office, which is being moved to Barnes Hall, which is not too far from Willard Straight Hall across the way. Then we have a new office called Latinx Student Empowerment. And then two more, the Office of Spirituality and Meaning Making that you can find in Annabelle Taylor Hall or Sage Chapel. And then last but not least, we have an undocumented and DACA student support area, which is also located in Barnes Hall.
The other piece we talk about is how we take care of ourselves, right? We talk a lot about how we take care of our physical health. And the other really important part is how we take care of our mental health as well. So as we've talked about here, once again, there's the support and resources that we continue to mention, right? Cornell has a lot of support here to be able to help us. We hope that we're over here in thriving in the green on the left all the time. And we recognize that sometimes life is stressful. Has life ever been stressful for anybody ever? No? Just me sometimes? Okay. There we go. We got some people who are like, yep, life has been stressful before. And we get over to this place where we're like, okay, I'm surviving. I'm doing it. It's stressful. But then when we get to these orange and red kind of columns on the right-hand side where I'm struggling or I feel like, oh my gosh, like I can't survive this. This is the point where we hope that you've reached out to somebody before you get to orange or red. But here's some of the ways that might show up. We might not be sleeping well, right? Our human might hurt. Our body might have fatigue or aches or pain. We might be withdrawing from the humans who are important to us or the people who are important to us. Those are just some ways that might show up. So when it starts to get to that surviving place, we hope that you call on some resources and some support to say, hey, I need some connection. I need to be in community with somebody and provide some of that support. So we'll talk a little bit more even about how we're here to help you.
So here we just want to bring it back to this idea of connectedness and make you think that, well, some of you might think that, oh, academics is the only reason why I'm here at Cornell. I'm just going to focus on academics, work in my lab, teach, do my research, take my classes and study. But I think that's a trap. To just focus solely on your academics. I think having those connections, whether it's with peers, friends, professors, staff, are equally important. And it's actually research based, that fact that having those connections, being able to have peer support will help you in the same way that a winter jacket and a nice pair of boots will help you in the cold winter and the snowy days here. So think about that as a protective factor as you approach your studies here at Cornell. And then the last thing I'll say is many times people have told me that this is actually, I will come clean. This is my first full semester at Cornell. I started in March, but I've been told that Prepare is a great program, and this is an opportunity to make those connections. I've been told that people meet people here and their friends throughout their time here at Cornell. So think about the people that you're sitting next to. Think about the people that you might be meeting over a meal. This is the start of your network. I also know that working with an alumni group, I work with the Cornell Asian American Alumni Group, and these people are so passionate about each other. They still talk to each other. They graduated years ago. To me, what that speaks to is people really value the relationships and the connections they made at Cornell, and I really want to encourage you again to think in that way, that the people that you're meeting are going to be friends for a lifetime, and that's an important part of your experience here.
Some of the pieces that we talked a little bit about when we get to that oh no place, or the place where we might be struggling and working through something, right? How do we reach out for help? So we wanted to provide you some actual support within that was kind of built in. One of those pieces is our administrator on call process. So this is actually somebody that's available all night long if you need us, right? So we're not clinical, but we're really folks to be able to support students in distress in multiple ways. You can get a hold of us by contacting Cornell University Public Safety Communication Center at this number, and just ask to be connected to an administrator on call. We'll call you back within just a few minutes. What are some of the ways that we can help? I'm so glad you asked. Great question. One is some of those academic consideration pieces. Sometimes when we're working through big deal things, we're like, oh no, I have this, I'm gonna pick something, this lab report due to my faculty member, my advisor tomorrow, right? But you didn't sleep all night long because you were working through something, or somebody may not be doing well at home, right? Any of those pieces, we're happy to reach out to your faculty and say, hey, this human is working through something and they might need some kind of support and some flexibility right now. Happy to also be supported in terms of connecting a student to student disability services. We'll talk more about student disability services in just a minute. Support following a transport. If we go to the hospital, right? That can be really helpful to figure out who we can be connected to and how, right? That takes a lot out of us sometimes, in terms of like, we sometimes aren't sleeping very well and other things like that. We can provide support for student athletes, and then continue to figure out ways that emergency funding might be applied. Sometimes we're like, that cost to go to the hospital, you know, might be on our minds. And what does that look like? And how does my health insurance work? And all those kind of pieces. We're not the office that really navigates all of that, but we're happy to pick up the phone and call and ask them and figure out what that is. Additional way that we're here is we actually have somebody that's available all day, every day, Monday through Friday, for you to just walk into our office or pick up the phone and call our office, drop-ins, whatever it is. If you need to be connected to somebody kind of in the same way, called Dean of the Day. And we'll tell you where our office is in just a second. There are so many campus organizations here to be able to support, over 1,000. If you don't find one that fits, you can also create your own. How cool is that, right? So we could have 1,001 because somebody in this room has an amazing idea that they want to create some support. The graduate school, right? Thinking about the Office of Inclusion and Student Engagement. The graduate school is somebody that we work with in our office all the time. The Ithaca community. What about this community that we live in, right? So certainly we live somewhere in Ithaca. That might be on campus, that might be off campus, and we go to class, or we go to our lab, or whatever it is. But what else is happening in Ithaca can be really helpful. So this is a website that is like maintained and updated all the time. And then lastly, is thinking through Cornell Health. Cornell Health is also an amazing resource for folks. They can provide mental health care. They can also provide physical health care. They can provide connections to the community. They'll be able to answer health insurance questions and find that kind of connection to who in the community might work well with your insurance provider, different things like that. So Cornell Health is amazing. And I was like open 5 days a week. So yeah. Where do you kind of go when you feel like you might be we say like in crisis or in need of support, right? One of the pieces here is in the US, we've talked about that emotional well-being. How we take care of our mental health is also how we take care of our physical health in the same way. So about 20% of students here at Cornell do seek services underneath our counseling center, our counseling and psychological services. We call it CAPS for short, like capital letters, CAPS for short. And as we talk about here, there's 24/7 access to support. So they do have an after-hour service as well. Sometimes things are great from 8 to 5. And then at 2 o'clock in the morning, things are not great, right? Has anybody ever had like a 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the morning, like, oh goodness, I need some support, right? So that's there. And those are ways to be able to get a hold of both CAPS 24/7, as well as Cornell University Dispatch Center or Communication Center. So both of those are 24/7 support.
Thanks, Kim. So the final resource that we want to share, Kim already mentioned student disability services. This is a very important resource on campus that works in partnership with faculty, students, and staff to make sure the academic life and student life are accessible, equitable, inclusive. I want to say that this office is thinks of disability is not just in medical terms, but in terms of it being a positive part of one's identity if one has a disability. So I think that's an important approach that not all disability offices look at when they think of students with disabilities. Then the last thing I want to say is that they support a wide range of students here on campus, whether you have a disability, have been diagnosed, or you want to talk to someone and you need to be diagnosed and you need services. So definitely encourage you all to consider this resource.
The other thing that I might, hopefully I don't put Huey on the spot here. I would like to say for both of us and the humans that we work with, the people that we work with, we want you to know that no question is a like dumb question. So if you need somebody to be like, I have a question and I don't know if I should ask this or anything like that, I will open my office up to that as well as my email inbox to schedule a meeting to like, hey, I just don't know if this is a question I can ask or where I should go or where I should start or any of those things. So please know that we are resources kind of in that mix as well.
Yes, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
Sounds good. Thank you. We'll turn it back over to our friends.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all very, very much. We are now ready for our next speaker. I'd like to bring up to the stage Michelle Crow to tell us about ELSO, the English Language Support Office.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to see you here today. I'm here to welcome you to Cornell on behalf of the English Language Support Office, which is called ELSO. That's the acronym we use, ELSO, E-L-S-O. And I'm here to welcome you on behalf of my office, which also includes Nathan Lindberg and Melissa Myers. Okay, if you get one message from my brief presentation today, it's that we are here for you. Okay, we love working with international graduate students, and our office is dedicated to working with you. You can email us with any question at elso@cornell.edu. You're also welcome to drop by our office, which is in Caldwell Hall, which is on the Ag Quad near Mann Library. Our mission is to provide writing and speaking support to multilingual graduate and professional students in diverse programs, from diverse language backgrounds, and at diverse points in their graduate careers. So we work with students from all of the different colleges and schools and degree programs here at Cornell, from all over the world with different language backgrounds, from their first semester all the way to their 4th year, 5th year, 6th year, 7th year. As long as you are here at Cornell, we are here to work with you. We offer a number of different programs. I'm going to give just a very brief overview. We offer half semester courses. These are credit-bearing courses, 1.5 credits. They're pass-fail. And I'm going to talk more about them in a minute. We offer peer tutoring programs. And so you can bring a paper, you can bring a presentation to one of our peer tutors. You can also meet with one of our peer tutors to work on pronunciation. We have a workshop series. So the faculty in ELSO give 90-minute workshops on different topics throughout the semester. We offer 6 a semester. The first one is on September 8th. And you can't see it here, but it's called Preparing for University Career Days. which is the great big career fair of the year. It comes up very early in the semester. So our first workshop is to help students prepare for that. We have a speaking groups program. This is a program where students meet in small groups, about 5 or 6 students, with a volunteer from the Cornell community to practice social English, also to have fun and to make friends. We have summer writing support. We offer a program called Write Together at Home, where students meet in writing groups, they meet for write-ins, and they get tutoring. It's a great way to make progress on your writing during the summer. And we have a Canvas site and a listserv. Everyone gets automatically enrolled into our listserv. The Canvas site is something that's program-wide. We put all of the different materials that we create into this Canvas site, and anybody can self-enroll. So there's a lot of great stuff there for you to explore. I want to spend just a couple of minutes talking about courses because class starts tomorrow. How did that happen so quickly, huh? It's just amazing. And so we offer 4 different writing courses. These are all courses designed to support the writing that you are doing already. We don't give you writing assignments in these courses. Like, I'm not going to ask you to write an essay for me. Instead, I'm going to teach you strategies and give you support so that you can make progress on writing that you're doing for your courses, for your dissertation, for your thesis, for articles that you're working on for publication, application materials, anything that you happen to be working on. And these courses all have the word workshop in them because you're given time during class to work on your writing, okay? These courses all have an application process, and so you can go to our website and find the application link. And it's a really brief little application where you tell us your goals for taking that course, and then we make sure that course is the right fit for you. We offer 3 different speaking courses: improving pronunciation, taking part in discussions, designing and delivering presentations. All of these courses are highly interactive, and they give you a lot of different strategies and resources to keep working in these areas. We offer 3 different courses that we call professional communication. These are courses that integrate writing and speaking, communicating in the workplace, preparing for the professional job search, and preparing for the academic job search. Communicating in the workplace and preparing for the professional job search are both offered in fall, and preparing for the academic job search is offered in the spring. Okay, and so some of these courses are full right now. And so if you go to Student Center and try to enroll, they won't appear. And that's because it's reached its cap of 12. And so to see those courses, what you need to do is unclick this default button, and then you'll be able to see them. If a course is full and you're interested in the course, don't give up. So lots of students change their schedules at the beginning of the semester. And so keep trying, keep going to Student Center and see if a spot opens. But you can also join our wait list. For a course that has an application, to join the wait list, you fill out an application. For the other courses, email us at also@cornell.edu. We always add the first 3 students from the wait list into a course. And so we allow our courses to go up to 15 and sometimes even a little bit higher, because we know student schedules are going to change, and we want to make sure as many students as possible have an opportunity to get into the courses. Okay. And so if you have any questions, please email us, also@cornell.edu. Drop by. We always have somebody there Monday through Thursday from 9 to about 4:30. Explore our website, lots of information there, and please join our Canvas site. So thank you all very, very much. I hope you have a wonderful start to your year and your degree program here at Cornell.